Hi, welcome back to In the Garage. Today we're going to be taking our engine and putting it in our test stand. Stay tuned. Hi, welcome back. If you remember in our last episode, we buttoned up the intake and the valve covers for our engine. We've gone ahead and done some of the prep work to get this engine prepared to lift and put into our engine test stand. We've got our engine lift chain and plate already installed. These are from Performance Tool. All the part numbers will be in the description below. There are a couple more pieces we're going to need to put on the engine before we put it in our test stand, like the flywheel, the bell housing, and our engine mounts. So let's go ahead and put those in and then we'll get it moved over. The first thing we're going to install is our engine mounts. These are from Energy Suspension, made in the USA. These are their performance polyurethane engine mounts. I'm going to show you what comes in the kit. You've got two plates that actually come in the kit. This is not a shim or a spacer. This is actually a part of the engine mount system. It has to be installed with every engine mount that you put in. You can see you've got a good thick polyurethane isolator built into the bracket itself. It's going to give you years of trouble-free performance for this engine mount. You can see it's going to mount here. We've got our bolts out, but I did want to show you that this plate, a lot of people may assume that this is actually a non-necessary shim or bracket if you needed it. It is to be installed with every engine mount that goes in. This is part of the instructions that Energy Suspension provides. It does, as you can see, it does isolate the isolator from the engine itself and give you that added stress and torque control of the mount. You can see on our bolt there is a washer. Make sure that you do use a washer with the installed bolts. Okay, so we've got all the bolts snugged down. The instructions that Energy Suspension provides with this engine mount says that they should be torqued down to 25 to 35 foot-pounds. So we've got our torque wrench already set. Okay, so now we've got our engine mounts installed. It's time to move over and get the flywheel installed. But before we do that, we're going to have to tension up the engine and remove the build stand so that we can get access to that flywheel. Okay, so we've lowered the engine down against the floor. Now we haven't taken the stress off the chain. Obviously most of the weight we want to keep on the chain. We're just putting enough weight onto the oil pan to give us something to work against when we're installing the flex plate. So let's go get it and we'll show you what we've got. Okay, so we've got both of our engine mounts installed on the engine. The next thing is to actually install the flex plate or flywheel, whatever you're using for your build. We're actually using the PRW Gold Series SFI Chromoly flywheel. This is a heavy-duty flywheel. We shouldn't have any issues with this. It should be a great piece to install. The part numbers will be in the description below. I did want to show you on the flywheel itself, you're going to have the information about the flywheel and the specifications for SFI that it meets. If you look at the other side, they've actually put a decal to show you this is the engine side. Usually your flywheel either will have a decal or a stamping on the side that needs to go against the engine, but make sure you pay attention to that when you're installing these. It's a very straightforward install. You just line up the holes and put in your bolts. There's our alignment. We're actually using the Mr. Gasket Flexplate bolts. Again, the part numbers will be in the description. You'll notice in the kit you have the star washers and the bolts. So make sure you're using all the kit that they give you when you install these. I'll get these started and we'll be right back to get them torqued down. So since the bolts for the flex plate are going to take a lot of spin and a lot of stress, we do want to make sure that we thread lock them. We're actually using the red thread locker. This is one of those situations where that extra bit of security is well worth the concern of getting them back out, because we don't want these bolts backing out in any shape, form, or fashion. Okay, the instructions tell us that for the flex plate, the bolts need to be torqued to 60 foot-pounds. So we're going to do as we've done in the past, is we're going to start at 30 and then go up to 60. And in any situation like this, when you're torquing in a circle, always use a star pattern to do your torques. Just makes everything go down a lot more even. Okay, so we've got everything to 30. I'm going to go ahead and take it up to 60 now. Go back and check them all one more time. And our flywheel's installed. Okay, so we've got our engine off of our build stand and into our engine test stand. One thing I wanted to point out, this is the stage where we're going to need to work out our plumbing and where our wiring and coolant lines, fuel lines, all of the electrical is going to be run. This is also probably the point in the process where you're either going to be installing the block in the engine or moving it into whatever project you're building. Since we were building this engine as a test mule for our test stand, that's where we moved it in here. It was a fairly straightforward install on this. I did want to point out there may be some steps that you're going to do differently in your build. If you're putting it in the car, you might already have the headers or the exhaust manifolds on, but for us this was the time to get it moved over so that we could kind of plan out how we're going to route all of our coolant and all of our fuel and electrical and all that. Okay, so you can see our engine mounting brackets actually mount to the stand from these support columns, and then we have our bell housing in the back that mounts to a bracket that we've installed on the engine test stand here. I would say on here these are totally adjustable on the height to match whatever block you have. Make sure if you're installing it in your vehicle or if you're installing on a dyno or a test stand like this, that you make sure the engine's level. So we did check all of that, make sure everything was perfectly level. We've got everything locked down. Now we can remove the lift plate and get it ready for the next stage in our next episode. Thanks for watching In the Garage with Parts Pro Performance Centers. As always, go to partspro.com to find your local Parts Pro store who can help you with this project or any project you're working on. And go ahead and hit the subscribe below to get notifications on other episodes in this series or any of the other series we're doing. We'll see you in the next episode.